So you're consistently showing up, but you're not improving, or at least you're not improving at the rate that you feel you should be. And you're looking at the people around you and comparing yourself naturally and find that with a fraction of effort, they're getting ahead farther than you. And this can be incredibly discouraging, especially because maybe perhaps you're at a place in life right now where you're tired of your situation. You're frustrated with not having something that's giving you confidence, a healthy self-concept, and this whole situation just makes it a whole lot worse. And it doesn't actually matter what you're even doing. It can be a sport, it can be building a business, advancing in your career, or trying to expand your realm of relationships with your friends and a significant partner. And you're banging your head against the wall. Well, I wanted to help you with that today. I have a couple things I want to share with you from my combined 25 years of martial arts training, competing at the world level in Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, and then also now being I guess you could say self-development coach for men. I just find that I don't often like that title, but nevertheless, to keep it simple, that's what I do as well. And there's one thing that I've learned that has been true across that entire time. It is that consistency is not enough. And I know that's like the most frustrating thing to hear. And to be fair, the alternative is you're inconsistent. And that's a whole lot worse. Absolutely. And then not doing anything at all is the bottom of the barrel. So there's no doubt in that. But simply just showing up physically will actually not change much, which is why you're looking at individuals who are showing up maybe a fraction of the time, but they're making better grounds. Now, granted, there could be, people have different brain developments, or some people grasp things quicker and some individuals are just more talented, and that happens, of course, but that's not the issue. And the reason why consistency is not enough, because whenever I teach class, or right now I run a martial arts academy, so Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, and I teach ages 4 all the way up to 50 plus. I have a couple individuals that show up exactly the same amount of time, 3 times a week. So I have one student that comes in Monday, Wednesday, Friday, and the same exact thing with another student that shows up Monday, Wednesday, Friday, except one trains in the afternoon, one trains in the evening. One of them shows up earlier, maybe about 20 minutes before class. He is not only physically present, he is mentally present, his heart is engaged, and his soul is speaking to him to move forward. How you practice is what multiplies. Now, if in comparison to the other individual that shows up Monday, Wednesday, Friday, just like the other guy, but he's physically there and he's, I guess, emotionally available. And what I mean by that, again, sorry if I didn't explain that, is you are in love with what you're doing. There is a love, a joy, a passion, a channeled aggression. The same aggression that is used for destruction instead is alchemized and focused and pointed towards a particular activity. In this case, is jiu-jitsu. This other individual is not like that very much. But he's a good spirit to have around. He's a good energy. But he can't remember the moves. He makes the same mistakes over and over again. And he'll maybe make like 1% improvement every month. Again, it's better than nothing, absolutely. But the other individual, because all 3 inner domains are locked in, his mind, his heart, and his soul. His mind is finding the mistakes he makes in class. and he's doing his absolute best to sit and reflect on it. And I talked to him about this. He sits and he reflects on it time and time again until eventually he can make sure that he does not make that same mistake and that same error. His heart is engaged. He is in love with what he's doing. He is fully immersed in it, using all avenues of emotions to channel and focus his energy to showing up and actually participating with everything that he has. And at the same time, his soul is involved. He's actually going to be competing in a couple months at one of the largest tournaments in Ontario. And when I talk to him about it, this is something he says that he feels pulled towards, that he almost has to do. And whenever I hear language like that, and sometimes in my videos I can get very complicated with my terminology, and sometimes it can be very like woo-woo, but he is connected to something much deeper. And that connection, once aligned with all three, is the combination for excellence. What I said earlier with what you focus on multiplies is absolutely true. The way you practice, the way you utilize your inner domain will have a direct translation to your outer results. And I've seen that time and time again. And it can be very confusing because you'll see some people who will present a very good exterior. They will present that they're involved emotionally. They present that they're mentally engaged and that they might not use soul. They can use God. They can use being, whatever language. And they say that they're involved with that as well. But you can tell, you can feel it. Those kind of things you can feel from a mile away. At least I can. But the ones that have it internally, you can't fake. Absolutely not. And what that means is he is in proper structure before he takes movement. In combat, when you're out of frame, when you're not in the right pose, you don't have everything in good physical alignment, and you take action from that place, you will stumble, you'll fall, you'll trip, you'll make mistakes, you'll have your emotions get the better of you. But if you have the exact opposite and you build off of that, then you're building an absolutely beautiful foundation. It is art. It's basically art. And the inner world is the exact same thing. Now, if you're being honest with yourself, you're probably disengaged, disassociated from your activity. And the question is why? Why are you disengaged from it? Why are you not fully involved? You have to ask yourself, why are you even doing what you're doing? A lot of us don't ask that. Why are you doing what you're doing? Are you doing it for money? Are you doing it for status? For women's approval? The approval from your mother and father, who you don't even actually maybe perhaps hang out with anymore or around, but yet you feel that presence, that demand internally? Until you can truthfully answer that, you can't force yourself into it. You can't. You may be able to for a certain amount of time. Anger from your past, resentment, when channeled and focused, can absolutely take you far. It can. But it is not sustainable. It's a fuel that will run out. And I say this from personal experience. When I started my training in jiu-jitsu, it was all my cylinders involved, everything. My soul, my heart, and my mind were fully engaged. But my heart not only did it love the sport, but it was also very angry. I was angry at my situation at the time. I was frustrated that I had friends at the time who were way more popular than me. And of course, when you're in high school, those things affect you. They would have a lot of girls around and they were smart academically. I didn't do very well academically in high school. And all this created anger and resentment. And my parents also were upset at the fact that I wasn't that type of individual. And so I was just absolutely deeply in a state that I needed to change, I had to change it. And so that fuel helped me. But it made me make decisions that I would not have made had I had dealt with that first. But of course, the season of life in your early 20s and your late teens, you don't really do those things then. And so you're sort of trying to just figure out your way through. But if you're watching this, you're probably not 20 years old. And maybe if you are, welcome. I'm happy to have you here. This is specifically for those who are, past that, over 25 years old, in their early 30s. At a certain point in time, that energy ran out. The anger faded. I didn't really care about that stuff anymore. And so then I asked myself, what am I doing this for? Why am I competing all the time? What is it that I'm causing myself excess suffering? It was until I contended with that question, it was until I sat with that for a long period of time, that I started to understand that my deepest issue was that what I started this with was not a healthy fuel source, not sustainable. I was operating from fear of rejection, fear of abandonment, fear of my social status being hit, fear of being forgotten, fear of success. I had a lot of these things. And that's where I operated from. But as you get to a certain age, as you work on your inner world, those things will start to vanish. And you eventually start to figure out, what is it that I'm actually doing anything for? And my answer to that is masculine excellence. What I believe every man wants, to some degree, is to experience being a piece of art. Whether that be through the expression of literal art, music, painting, dancing, or your technical expression of business, sales, marketing, or your ability to connect and resonate with a lot of people, how you can really resonate and understand how they're feeling, and you build a skill around it. It is the act of finding perfection, but not having perfection dominate you. That's why I call it masculine excellence, because the masculine is this laser-focused being. And the biggest problem we have right now in the modern world is that we're very scattered. We're all over the place. We're like a light bulb we're illuminated, but it's like not actually doing anything. We're supposed to be laser beams. We cut through metal. We perfect our speech, our vessel, our physical presence. We connect with our deeper spirituality, which I know, it's making a turnaround, but for the most part, a lot of people find that very, there's too much mysticism and there's a lot of religious context and connotations there, and people are very averse to it. But I urge you to not ignore that. It is when the soul and heart are in alignment that you can then become this laser beam and actually point it in a direction that you can develop this artistic ability to make art out of your skill, to have it look beautiful. Now, it took me a very long time to piece that together, and what I do now is I help men do the exact same thing. The first problem, though, is we're stuck in the past. There are things holding us back. Memories, stories, beliefs, ceilings of joy and happiness that we need to contend with. And if you're in the season of your life where you've passed all this, you've passed the whole desire to be popular and all these things, and of course they're nice to have, but it is no longer enough to move you. If that's your situation, then we have to contend with your past, bring you into the present. This way you can actually, with a clear filter, see what your future can offer in alignment with what you're being called towards. It won't be 100% your choice. And I know how that sounds, but it won't be. It is a combination of, yes, what you want, but also what the universe, what God, source is pulling you to do. It is a force, an entity of preparation calling you towards excellence. And where it points, you have to go. That is your duty. That is your purpose. And if you want access to that and you want to have my system do that for you, I developed an entire system on how to do that. And it's a full combination of depth psychology, spirituality, and martial arts discipline. Something I've been working on for a very, very long time. I'm building a waitlist for it. Down below, I have that link. If you click it, you can read through what's inside of that community when I launch it. And it's called the Sovereign Brotherhood. And it's specifically for men. There's not enough environments for men to get together and actually share and not feel like they're weak if they express vulnerability. And also actually be able to be shown that they have purpose here. There's meaning to their life. That you're not just this mechanical object who's just waking up and going to work and that's it. There's more to you than that. And so read the link, or rather click it and read the information down below. If it's resonating with you and you're sick and tired of your situation, join the waitlist and let's change your life. Well, thank you very much, everybody, and I will see you on the next video.